Dunk.
Hey guys, gals and non-binary pals, Invale here with another wacky build video. Again, not particularly crazy, but maybe something that people have not explored before. Likely that you have, because you know a lot of my builds, I'm not really inventing the wheel here. I'm just pulling together old rubbish, mostly influenced by people like Chug That Estes. So this is my Vengeance Barbarian. So I've tested this with two Kingslayers, because the thing about Barbarians is obviously you get two weapons, and I tend to find the extra +10 to Vengeance doesn't really do a lot. I think it's much better to have a defensive property going on here with this one, because you're standing still and doing a single attack, and stuff mobs up on you. So you can get hurt by this. So yeah, I like it that way, but obviously feel free to experiment any way you like. So the idea is you're acting like a Vengeance Paladin, so you're going to have Vengeance Paladin type gear, but with the perks of the tankiness and life-giving properties of a Barbarian. So we'll start off with the gear analysis here. So you've got Kingslayer, so you get the 10 to Vengeance, and you get a big whack of cold damage, some crushing blow, open wounds, all good stuff there. And I put it in a Cryptic Sword because a Cryptic Sword is nice and fast. And sword and board looks, pretty cool on a Barbarian if the sword looks very archetypal. So Cryptic Sword, you can, put it in whatever you want, but I like the look of a Cryptic Sword. So the head slot is Akira's. This was the best Kira's that I could slam that didn't brick. I had a perfect one, and it bricked. I had another one with shitty cold lightning and minus fires, and it got a rubbish slam. So I put it on a different character, my Meteor Sorceress, I think. Anyway, for this one, it was the highest cold lightning fire that I had left over. Rubbish slam, extra lightning res, and I needed poison, so I put a tower in it. Again, not perfect by any means, but you get the picture, right? Barbarian amulet, so I got, it's just a random 2 to Barbarian skills amulet. Again, I'd probably be crafting a hit power amulet so that I got the AR and the faster hit recovery and things like that. Apologies for Facebook going off in the background. So yeah, Spirit Ward I went with because Barbarians can afford to put into strength and not suffer too much with vitality because of the nature of their character. So you get the huge blocking slam, as you can see. Sadly, I actually think I socketed it with a Larzac hammer at this point. I didn't need the res, I just needed a little top up, but I didn't have a P-box, so I was just like, screw it, and went with it. So, defensive properties there. The armor is Corpse Mourn for the massive fire damage, which leans into the Vengeance skill. And also the Corpse Explosion is kind of useful. I used it against Nilithak. I ran in, smacked a few things, and blew up the corpses before Nilithak could. So ha 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 to him. Inferno Stride for the 24 to 66 fire damage, and then the other mods are quite gravy. You end up getting hit a lot, so the blaze when struck not only creates an explosion around you which can hurt monsters, but you get to run around super fast, which is great. So this ring is just a dual leech ring with some strength to help put things like Spirit Ward and Corpse Mourn on. Again, nothing special. You can probably fill a better slot there, chat. I'm not very lucky with that kind of thing. Now this might be a controversial belt slot choice, but I really like the 3 to 330 lightning damage. The lightning absorb is kind of useful. The defense on character level is okay, and I got a blocking slam on it, which is pretty good, so that helped me get the blocking up. Some people can use, T-Gods and other things like that. Again, in the boot slot, you could use Merman Sprocket, but I much prefer the max fire res and things you get from Inferno Stride. That's why I used it. The next ring is a massive AR ring to make sure I get the hits in. Tri-res, again, just to keep the reses up and things. Obviously, I don't need a Ravenfrost because you get Cannot Be Frozen from Kira's, which is really useful. And faster block rate from Frostburns, which is useful, and then you get that really juicy fire and cold damage and minus enemy resistances, which is super cool. And may I say, one thing I really love about this character is how badass he looks. The black armor from Corpse Mourn looks really good on a Barbarian, and then the shield it's a bit whack. I mean, it's still black, but it has blue edges, and it's kind of like, okay. And then the obviously Eth sword. He just looks really cool. I love the aesthetic on this. So I've got a Warcry's amulet there that I quickly pop on for just that extra +1. And on Switch, we have an Ondul's Wisdom for a few reasons we'll go into in a minute during the gameplay. So yeah, I have a teleport staff for those occasions where I'm just being lazy and I quickly pop it on and jump over a wall. And then Heart Carvers, if I'm, because I like running Travancore, because I like big stacks of gold. So if I'm bored, I'll, kill everything in Travancore, pop them on, and quickly hawk everything. Again, I'm not specialised in it or anything. It's just for fun. So that's the gear. So then we'll move on to the Mercenary's gear. So my Mercenary has a Demon Machine, just for the sake of having the multi-shot on striking, so we get a bit of area effect. Because the chaining on Vengeance helps to take out an area effect, and while that chaining is happening, obviously their life's getting eaten away, and then when the multi-shot kicks in, it helps to spread out the damage across the screen to just finish off those monsters. And I find that's really useful. So again, you could experiment with just about anything in this slot here. Darksight Helm for the dim vision when struck. So, because this Mercenary, again, she's not particularly squishy, she's a little squishy, but the dim vision when struck is really useful, because if she gets hit by souls, for example, in the distance, and it casts dim vision on them, they're effectively shut down. And then after that, I can leap in, or teleport in, if whatever the case is, and deal with them accordingly. So it's kind of useful. Bolts for resistance, to keep her resistances up. As you can see, her resistances in Hell aren't brilliant, so that makes her a little squishy. I'd love for her to have maybe a better slam here for all res and stuff, or because this is fine. So yeah, anything to keep her speed up to get the procs on the multi-shot. Yeah, so that's why I'm using Crowcore. So increased attack speed, pierce, open wounds, just all round good. Same with treads, pierce to get that up. And then, surprisingly, I'm using two-piece here because she gets a bit of leech from this, and it was the only other slot left, and a bit of life for the two-piece bonus. But then Magnus Skin's very important because you get the attack speed and the chance to pierce. Now, I'd have loved to pierce slam on there extra, or something else other than block rate, but what are you going to do? Again, I'm not lucky with slam. If you watch my Twitch stream, you'd know this. You'd be like, oh my god, what is he doing? Why does he slam? There's no point. Right, so she's got 129 pierce because of there's a lot of juicy pierce stuff going on around here. So that's good. So yeah, she's pretty good. And you're probably thinking, Dean, what's going on? Meditation? I'm like, she's super safe. So she's firing out freezing arrows and keeping monsters locked in place, which is super useful to keep the chaining going as well when I'm shooting Vengeance off. If they're moving around trying to position on me and surround me, they might not get chained by the Vengeance. So locking them in place with the freezing arrow is awesome. Right, so that's gear done. We'll go over the skills. So I've maxed General Mastery so that I can have attack rating and chance of crit just to get the physical up a little bit. We've maxed Iron Skin so I get some damage reductions. Again, you get surrounded pretty easy and stuff. 1 point natural resistance because it's GG. I've put a lot of points into increased speed enough to get my attack speed and run walk up, so I zip around the screen and I hit super fast. It's actually a pretty decent investment. I think people sleep on increased speed as a skill. I think the attack speed and walk run speed is very decent because it means I can do things like this and not have to worry about so much increased attack speed, especially when this is super powerful for Vengeance. It may not be good for the conventional Barbarian because you want, Crushing Blow and Deadly Strike and increased attack speed and things on your gear, but because we're gearing up for Vengeance, we can use this skill to give us the speed we need and then concentrate on things like this for damage, which is insane damage. Yeah, so Warcries, the usual, max battle command, 1 point wonders everywhere else, especially Grimward. Don't sleep on Grimward, guys. It is amazing. You get so much attack rating, and even the damage bonus is pretty good. The only problem is it does slow down gameplay just a little bit. Yeah. So use it sparingly. What I like to do when I'm farming Diablo, for example, I like to drag some of the last enemies up to his pentagram, kill one, So I've got a Grim Ward to kill Diablo with. Yeah, because against Bale, you can't do jack about it, which is unfortunate. Again, against Mephisto, you can raise up a corpse of one of his council members and smack him with that. And in maps, obviously, there's plentiful corpses. So you've always got Grim Ward going on. Very, very useful skill. And then lastly, combat, I only have Leap. Just so I can get around faster. Leaping over the River of Flame, leaping over the Frozen River, whatever. Because obviously we don't need combat skills, because we have Vengeance. And so, oh, sorry, one thing I'll touch on. So again, I got a torch out of this, donated to me probably from a friend. Didn't get an Annie, but I've got absolutely killer big charms with big damage on them. Again, donated from the community and left over from my Vengeance Paladin, who sadly died. I'd have loved to have done a video on him. Oh wait, I did do a video on him. Vengeance Hydra, crazy build, loved it. So yeah, this one's absolutely banger. That's lovely. It's got 2 stats. That one's great. Life, cold. 1 combat skiller, purely for the reason that it has cold damage on it, so useful. Masteries is useful because it increases life and defense and all kinds of things. So again, masteries skillers are good for this build. I wouldn't invest in them heavily though. This is where your damage is at. So for example, that's max damage AR. You need the AR, great, but also elemental on it. And elemental again, and then these are all pretty banger elemental as well. That's a big stretch there, 2 to 53, 50s. So again, if you can, like, hold these back as best you can when you're leveling up, because you might get inspired to do Vengeance, and just always keep them, you know? These aren't as good as I thought they were, because all the good ones went on the Vengeance Paladin, but sadly he's dead. Right, so quick bit of gameplay, just like I said, show you the score. So what we do, whoops. Oh yeah, I forgot, I haven't actually finished with this guy. So we'll do a bit of gameplay in actual real time. I never finished. I'm pretty confident he'll do well in maps. I really am. Obviously I don't have an example of that, so we'll just quickly smash that down. So what we do, oh yeah, that's another good thing about it. You get a little army following you. 12% reanimators returned. So you get a little army of minions, which is kind of cool. And we leveled up. GG, we're level 81. Right, so we obviously put on the Echoing Amulet, so there we go. We've got big life now. So we switch back. And then while we're doing this, let's say there's something there, we're just spamming like this with Battle Cry to reduce the enemy's defense so you can hit them there. And as you're spamming, you're absolutely kicking off with Ondul's Wisdom. See those enemies down there? They're all lit up now. A level 20 Inner Sight brings their defense down by a lot. And so that is invaluable in maps, like against the map boss. So not only have you hit him with a Battle Cry to bring his defense down, but he then gets hit with the Inner Sight. And then you switch back and lay down the smacky smacks. Now as you can see, it's not very fast. It's reasonable. It's not crazy. So if we just pull up Vengeance there and go to here, it's a 10 frame attack. So it's not fast, it's not slow. It's just 10 frames, right? So I keep Leap on this one so I can get around, as you can see. And then let's say there's something going on. Bam, we can corpse explode for fun. That's just memes. I love seeing reactions of people when I'm doing like public maps and runs and stuff like, there's no necromancer in the game. Who's corpse exploding? Sort of thing. And I'm like, it's me. And probably what you've all been waiting for, the damage. As you can see, the lower end is a bit poop, 2,000, but I've got 8,171 damage on a Vengeance. And obviously that chains. So the attack rating for Vengeance is a bit poop, as you can see. I've only got 7k, yeah? But that's where sticking up a Grim Ward comes in, sticking down the Battle Cry, and then getting the sparklies going on. So now, as you can see, if I was still in range of Vengeance, sorry, the Grim Ward, I've got 10k. And then if you can't factor in the Inner Sight, sadly, but that would also be much bigger. So that actually translates, you know, if we're stood here, 10k plus the Inner Sight, that works out to be sort of more like 12 to 13 or something. It's quite big. It just doesn't look it on screen. And obviously having the badass aura around our feet from Grim Ward adds to the aesthetics. Yeah. So that's pretty much it with that one. So like I said, you run in, do a bit of smacky smacks. There you go, we've got another army member following us to help out. See, most things get 2 tapped. I'll try and find a boss so I can show you, like, you know, we'll just leap around, get past things. There you go, there's a boss. So we jump in, there you go. Not much. And then while I'm finishing off, I might just do that. Bam, bam. Mercenary, as you can see, she takes care of business. You know, you've probably seen her doing certain things. There you go, there's the multi-shot going off. Perfect timing. Again, she's got, you know, the cold arrow coming out as a cold arrow skill. Then she's got exploding arrow for a normal shot, which is a nice little spread of damage. Nothing crazy, but it just spreads it. And then, when she's paying attention, let's see, let's do this now. There you go, so that's kicking off now. You can't see, as I said, the increase from inner sight, but it just meant that their defense was so low, my physical damage there actually mattered. And I don't know why I'm picking stuff up, this is non-ladder. So there you have it, that is my Vengeance Barbarian. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it inspired you to build some wacky stuff with some of these, you know, items yourself. Alright, take care.